Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's try this. All right. Welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. I do apologize for the delay. This time it wasn't me, it was StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard for getting their stuff fixed. Appreciate you guys. And I'm joined by my co-host for tonight, Michael Pless. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Gene. Man, it's great to be back on. It seems like it's been a little while. So just happy to talk Bucks football and talk more NFL because man, it's been a wild off season so far.
Bro, when the NFL is not for the weak of heart in the offseason. And this season is the prime example. I mean, you take Kansas City, for example. I mean, I thought Kansas City was going to have a stacked offense. And we'll get to the Bucs here in a minute, but with Tyreek Hill going and doing what he's doing, I got to address this. I mean, you look at Kansas City, you've got Tyreek Hill on one side, you bring in Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's a true number 2 receiver, a legit number 2 receiver. And I think he would have benefited from having a better receiver on the other side of the ball. I think what you have now, Kansas City has to go out and get another receiver. I mean, personally, you look at who they have on their roster. I mean, you got Justin Watson, Marquez Scandling, I think just signed with them too, I believe.
Or he was on a visit.
Oh, he's on a visit. Okay, so it hasn't been official.
Yeah. I mean, they still have Miko Hardman, who I think is underrated. He could take a step up as a bigger time playmaker, with his role. So, I mean, he's pretty good, and you still have Travis Kelce, who's their top notch guy. So, I don't think they'll be. I mean, they're still going to be a very good team, because Patrick Mahomes and what they have around. Overall defensively and offensively, I think they can still make things happen. Good coaching staff, but obviously Tyreek Hill being traded to Miami for 5 draft picks. I mean,
that's huge.
Yeah, and you really can't blame Kansas City. I think it was the right call. Obviously, Tyreek Hill wasn't happy with his contract. He wanted more money. He got what he wanted going to Miami, and I think it's a good fit for all parties involved.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm wearing my official Tyreek Hill shirt today. Sponsored by Smack Apparel. Shout out to you guys at Smack Apparel. Appreciate you guys. Let's talk a little bit about the Bucs, man. The Bucs have made some moves. I know that it hasn't like jumped out off the screen, but I think Tampa's done pretty good in this offseason compared to where people thought they would be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go a month back and everyone was like, oh, it's doom and gloom. The team's not going to be very good this year.
Probably not even a month. You don't even have to go a month back.
Yeah. I mean, you go back at least 3 weeks and it was just, a lot of negativity. There was Twitter wars going on. Who's going to be the quarterback? Are we going to trade for this guy? We're going to do this. Kyle Trask is no good. Blaine Gabbert can't be the guy, can he? And just a lot of question marks. Who are we going to sign back? Is Chris Godwin coming back? And then all of a sudden, Tom Brady decides to, unretire. And it seems like everything has just kind of fallen in place. You get Ryan Jensen back, Carlton Davis, Chris Godwin, all re-signed and on the team. And then you add, Russell Gage, who I think is a very underrated receiver. And you add him to the mix. You get a Logan Ryan, who's a good addition for the secondary, a veteran presence. So I think it's
and the offensive line. They
and trading for Shaq Mason after you lose an Alex Kappa. I think
Ali Marpet.
Right. Ali Marpet retiring. So I think it's been a solid offseason so far for them, and I don't think they're done. Getting William Golston back, I think is nice. So just going to continue to plug along, and I expect them to make more moves. Leonard Fournette, just became official today. So
when you look at stuff, and what's really cool, and me and you, we go way back, and I remember us talking about once you get your nucleus of players, or nucleus, sound like from Texas. Once you get that nucleus in place, you can plug and play players now. Now you're not like where the Bucks were prior to 2018, where it was just bad all across the not all across the field, but for a lot of the field. Um, Now you've got key players in key positions, and players that you're rotating out. Like you can upgrade from a mentor, you can upgrade from some of the players. JPP, we don't know what's going to happen there. Does he retire? I think if I had to guess, I would say the defensive line is kind of where you would kind of set your sights right now. I think you kind of alluded to that earlier, or before we went live. That's in the draft, that's where you would get to.
No, you're right. I think defensive line is definitely a priority. You look at what you have on the front guys. You have William Golston, Nunez Roches, and then Vita Vea. And so really not much there right now. Hopefully they can, get Ndamukong Suh back. But I think they're going to continue to add pieces there and get more, whether it's edge rushers to go along with Joe Tryon Shoyinka and Shaq Barrett, Anthony Nelson. I think that's got to be the priority because they got to win more with the front four than they did
Right.
last year. And that was really the Achilles heel for this team on defense. They just had to blitz way too much, and it ended up costing them, especially on that last play against the Rams.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, winning those battles, there were games in that during that Super Bowl run where the Bucks rushed four and everybody else did their job and did what they had to do.
Yeah.
And because they're not able to get home, as you mentioned, and it just this past season felt kind of off. And I think a lot of it had to do with some of the injuries. I'm not making excuses, but it is what it is. I mean, there were a lot of injuries that you had to deal with.
Mm.
And you had that next man up, and the next man up wasn't really up for the task at times. So yeah, I think the Bucks were fortunate in 2020 with limited injuries to get to where they got to. And they are back in place to be one of the favorites to win it all.
Right, and that's what you can ask for as a fan. I mean, there's not much else to demand from for your team. You want to be a contender, you want to be competitive and be in the playoffs year in year out. And obviously, with Tom Brady back at quarterback, that's a big
Huge.
start. Yeah, it's huge, and adding your pieces with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and now hopefully get a Rob Gronkowski back here later in the offseason. You added Leonard Fournette back, which I think is a very underrated move because what he can do as your three down back. And he
Mhm.
was very pivotal as being a pass protector for Tom and then also catching the football and running it when we had to run the football. So I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. And now you can, just find some more pieces along the way. And I think they're going to be smart about their approach in free agency where they're just going to play the market, look for value, and then really attack the draft coming up. And you might see some more moves in the draft to get more draft capital because they only have six draft picks this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when I look at this team and top to bottom, they've got the pieces in place. I mean, the linebacker core is still there. I would
Mhm.
love to see more from the linebacker core this year. I would love to see that next step, but with Levante having that injury last year, I think that really affected him. Um, but again, as you mentioned, and Neil mentioned something about in the chat about the trenches, attacking the trenches and making sure that you're keeping that replenished. That's something the Bucks did not consistently do from 2003 up until what 2018, 2019. They really did not address the defensive line as the way they should have, in my personal opinion. They missed on free agents
Mhm.
and they missed on draft picks. So it really hurt this team for years because of them not taking care of that. But I think they've learned from their mistakes, and I think you will see them addressing both sides of the ball in the line in the draft and in free agency.
No, I agree. And, I think we've learned that, Jason Light is a guy that's really not going to force things. He's going to try to stay true to his board. He's going to draft for value. And I think that's something they're going to try again this year. And I think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive and finding players that can play right away. I know
Mhm.
last year they took some chances on guys that they thought they could develop for the future. Obviously, with the Kyle Trask pick, Robert Hainsey, Jalen Darden, KJ Britt, all those guys are, were pretty much future picks. They were guys they felt like they don't have to play right away. But I think this year they're going to go back to finding guys that can have upside, but also,
Yeah.
contribute right away if need be.
Yeah. I like what Britt did on special teams. I was
Mhm.
very happy with that.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to seen him getting a little bit more playing time in certain games last year too, but you know,
He's got a big opportunity this year to be that third inside linebacker. Because I'm not sure if Kevin Minter's going to come back to the team. He's still a free agent, so yeah, it's an opportunity for him or Grant Stewart to step up into those roles.
yeah. And looking at it, it just feels like they will upgrade. I love what Kevin Minter did. I loved his game. I felt like he was a little bit slow. He had lost a step as
Mhm.
the season progressed when called upon. I mean, he made plays, but it wasn't like, in years past where we've seen him.
Mm.
And I think that the Bucks could go out there and get somebody younger, faster, and do a little bit more. Chris Cole, what's happening? Emily Compa, Neil L, what's going on? Thank you everybody for checking us out. Appreciate that. What do you guys think? If we draft Zion Johnson at 27, our O line will be dominant besides Donovan Smith.
uh, there's always going to be that one person that just doesn't like Donovan Smith. I guess. Well, I shouldn't say one person. It's going to be multiple people that just don't like his game. But actually, the dude had a great 2021 season. I mean, he played
Yeah.
outstanding last year.
Yeah,
Uh,
good run. I mean, good run blocker. I love letting him
mm,
get loose, man, because he's
mhm.
just like, well, he'll destroy people.
Yeah, I thought he had a really good year. I know people look at the Rams game, and obviously it wasn't his greatest game. He had a bad game against Von Miller, but Von Miller is going to give trouble to anyone, and obviously not having Tristan Wirfs on the other side, it affected things. So um, yeah, Donovan Smith, but to his point, if Zion Johnson is the draft pick, that'd be an excellent selection, and you could slide him at left guard or put him at right guard, whatever you want to do, and I think that'd be a great pick.
I think
I
he's a day one. This is a day one guy here too.
Yeah, he'd be an instant starter, and I think that's what they're trying to look for in this year's draft. I think they're going to try to find a big impact early, guy that can come in and just play right away. So that's why I'm looking at like defensive tackle, offensive guard, or maybe a cornerback or a safety that could come up and play in the box. I think that's something they'll look for as well.
Yeah, and the NFL is such a copycat league. And I don't know about you, but I see a lot more emphasis on wide receivers in the draft.
Mm.
And I could be wrong here, but I think that may be a big reason. There are a lot of veteran wide receivers out there that haven't been picked up in free agency yet. And I'm just wondering if people are looking at the draft to maximize that talent, through the draft.
Yeah, I think, as the weeks go on, you're going to get to that point where a lot of free agents, I mean, most of them, especially the older free agents, they're going to be waiting after the draft just to see where their best spot available is to actually go and play somewhere right away.
Right.
Because a lot of these guys, they don't want to sit on the bench, they don't want to be behind a rookie or any of that nature. So um, and teams are going to see how the draft unfolds as well, and
Yeah.
then you'll start to get that second wave of free agency where a lot of teams pick up guys for good value, and I think the Bucs are definitely one of those teams where they're just going to wait it out and see who they can pick up later on, and really add depth to your team. And I think that's what's very important, especially after the Bucs last year, where they struggled with injuries. They're going to want to get as much depth as possible,
Yeah.
especially Tom Brady back, and try to win another Super Bowl.
So on the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to jump to the defensive side here in just a moment. Do you see or envision any other big moves on the offensive side of the ball? I mean, you got Mike Evans. I mean, you got Chris Godwin. Now you've got Gage. There's going to be competition for that number 4 position. Um, Tight end position, you've got Cam Brate, and you know, do it. We know that and Rob Gronkowski, of course. I'm guaranteeing that he'll be back. I should,
Mhm.
but I'm good anyway. But outside of that, on the offensive side of the ball, do you see any places where the Bucks can make moves that will help this team long term?
Well, I think, obviously they're going to add another quarterback to the roster, which it'll probably be Blaine Gabbert. I think they'll go in that direction. Running back, they're definitely going to add a couple more there, whether it be a draft pick. I don't think it'll be an early draft pick for running back, but you never know. So I think they'll add another veteran running back to the group, whether it's Gio Bernard or maybe a Jarek McKinnon. There's a bunch of names out there that could be added to the running back room. Receiver, I don't know. I feel it's pretty much set, but I could see where they draft another receiver because Jason Light just drafts receivers. I mean, that's what he does. And it's a great class yet again for the receiver room. So could definitely see them adding a receiver or two, as the offseason goes on. And then you look at tight end. They're definitely going to add some tight ends, and this year
Yeah.
might be the year they actually draft one. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
So, I wanted to ask you, we're talking about tight ends with the
Mhm.
departure of OJ Howard, which he had a fairly underwhelming season here, due to injuries and opportunities at times. Do you think that was a good landing spot for him in Buffalo?
Yeah, I think it was just time for him to have a fresh start. And I talked about this subject with other people, and I have a group chat on Twitter. We talk about it. I was just telling him, I was like, I think he just needs to mature, and if he matures and starts working and becomes a better professional, I think he could be, something pretty good in this league. And
Yeah.
it's just up to him if he wants to take his mental and physical game to the next level. I think he could be, a good fit in Buffalo, and with the two tight end sets that they like to run, especially with Josh Allen getting outside of the pocket, I think that's a very good fit for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he would fit in great with a mobile
Mm,
quarterback. He does good in space. I mean, when we've seen him at his best, is where he's in space and he's running,
yeah.
and he just hasn't had those opportunities very much in Tampa.
Hmm.
Whether it was pre Tom Brady or with Tom Brady. So hopefully, like you said, that he can kind of make the most out of
Yeah.
where he's at now.
Yeah, it was just a mixed bag here, unfortunately. I think a lot of, some of it was on, most of it was probably on him himself, just some bad luck, injuries and stuff like that. But also, there was times where the focus would just disappear and the coaches would get frustrated with him. So it was just building that consistency, and the same could be applied with Ronald Jones,
Yeah.
who definitely needs a fresh start, and I hope he gets one as well.
Yeah. I'm wondering where he's gonna end up at. I'd love to see him in Baltimore
Baltimore would be an interesting fit. I think that would fit his game really well.
because I watch how the running backs run with Baltimore,
Mm,
and their assignments are different. The Bucks have probably one of the most intricate offenses I've ever seen, or just
mhm.
the way and I don't even think they've scratched the surface on the playbook with what we've seen from Bruce Arians since he's been here.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I saw he was visiting with Kansas City today. So I mean, that'd be an interesting fit, but I don't know if that would be best for him. They're another pass-heavy offense, so I think Baltimore would be fun. Again, they have a bunch of running backs, though.
Yeah,
Obviously coming back with
right.
Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. So a lot of
Yeah.
good talent there. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him in a running type offense.
Or maybe like the Colts. No, the Colts is they're still have their backs catch a little more than
Yeah, Colts
normal.
wouldn't be bad. I would. I mean, I think that'd be a good fit for him to back up Jonathan Taylor
Yeah,
and work with him and Naeem Hines, and I know Marlon Mack is a free agent right now.
yeah. I
So
would love to see him in a Bucks uniform.
that would be nice. I'm not sure how you know,
I don't know how cap friendly that would be, but it would be nice.
I think you could get him pretty, good value, but it just depends on, what the Bucks want to do, and they might have eyes set on the draft, and so
Mm.
just have to see how it works up.
And what I will say about Jason Light, as much as I love Jason Light, I'm pretty, as long as you've known me, I've been pro Jason Light.
Mhm.
When it comes to running backs, ugh,
Yeah,
he's just not been.
that's
Yeah,
been his Achilles heel,
yeah,
that and kickers,
yeah. So,
just hasn't worked
well,
out.
actually, Matt Gay was that guy. I mean,
Mhm. Y
so but
Yeah, he turned it around. Yeah.
yeah, he did. So again, it's one of those things, and I believe that they'll get it right. They'll right the ship. I think once they break the curse of quarterbacks is when they draft a guy that can take it to the next level. I'm still curious to see what Kyle Trask has. I haven't said anything negative or otherwise about him. I just want to see what he's going to do. Just because.
Mm.
Justice, I can actually take calls. Yeah, if you want to call in, give me 1 second. Let me get it set up for you, and you can go ahead and call in to your heart's content here. Oh, I think we're good. 855-470. Oh, I'm going to give you my work number. That's how bad it is. That's here. I'm gonna put it up on the ticker here. 813-358-8154. Go ahead and call in, and I will take your call. But right now, I love where the Bucks are. Where there's not a lot of what ifs, there's not a lot of wondering or concerns like where we were when Tom Brady retired the way he did and when he did was a scary moment.
Mm.
And it took me a long time to process that because we had a quarterback that was a good decision maker. I mean, he was an offensive coordinator on the field. He got the ball out quickly, and it really made you appreciate his game. And then when he was gone, he was gone.
Yeah.
And so now, he's back. We can kind of appreciate what we had with Tom. And we can also look at, this is the kind of, well, we're not going to get this quarterback, but you want somebody that's a good decision maker. And from everything that I've seen from Trask, I think he's a good decision maker from looking at him in college and, looking at, the glimpses that we got to see of him in preseason. I'm just curious to see what he turns into, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think he needs to, just be developed and continue to work on his craft. And obviously having Tom back for another year to learn from, I think is going to be very beneficial. So yeah, you can't rule him out right now.
Yeah, you really do.
You gotta let him play and see what happens. But
Yeah,
obviously with Tom being back for at least one more year, I think that's really good for everyone in the organization, and it's going to be, you know, a
100%.
yeah,
And
you're right back in contention.
yeah, and to your point, he's getting the chance to learn preparation. He's getting a chance to take these mental notes from probably one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever, lace him up.
Mhm.
Learning decision making. I know some of that is natural, but decision making can be a learned behavior. I mean, as far as when you're dissecting a defense and what to do on the field in under real bullets or live bullets. So I think he's got a great opportunity here, and I'm just hoping that they can sit him down. No expectations for him for the 2022 season, and then let's see what he does. When Tom finally does retire.
Yeah, and it could be not till he's 50. We never know. I mean,
Yeah,
Tom,
exactly.
you know,
He'll be
Tom
going
was
at it.
Tom was the best quarterback last year in the league, and
Yeah,
I don't see
bar
any.
none.
Yeah, I don't see anything
He was
stopping
the
him.
MVP. He was the
Yeah,
MVP.
exactly. So, and Bud Cannabis makes a great point. Tom saved us from the Watson nightmare, and that is huge because that's a lot to give up for a quarterback. And I'm
Oh,
glad we
most
don't
definitely.
have, yeah, glad we don't have to pay that contract. Don't have to give up those draft picks.
Yeah,
Um,
now let me ask you this, and I'm not taking anything away from Deshaun Watson. I've been a huge fan of his. I was kind of pissed off that they torpedoed his draft to where he was drafted real low when the
mm,
tape was showing that he was a good quarterback coming out of college. So I'm happy for him getting his money, whatever. But is he that guy? You know what I mean? And we've seen what he's done in the Texans. We've seen what he's done with a good receiver and a decent defense, but is he the guy that's going to get you into the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think it remains to be seen. Obviously he's a heck of a talent. I think he'll do fine, in Cleveland. Obviously, the offensive line is good, so he'll be protected. He'll be in a good offense where he can have a lot of, bootlegs and just easy passes.
Yeah.
So they're going to make it, effective for him. They're going to make it more QB friendly. He's going to have a
And
great
he's got two healthy running backs.
right. He's
Like
going to have a
he
great
does.
great running game to go off of, and a defense that is very underrated. So this will probably be the best team he's been a part of, roster top to bottom. And obviously getting Amari Cooper to throw the football to, that's huge. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think he'll be fine. Obviously for Cleveland, I think it was worth it to go get that guy.
Mhm.
And especially when you have a roster that is ready to win now. And we've seen the last two Super Bowl champions where they put it all in on the table and they got it
Yeah.
done. So,
Yeah.
and like you said, it's a copycat league, and that's what teams are doing. I'm just glad that that for the Bucs' sake, they were able to get the greatest quarterback of all time back on their team, and I think it's
That
just
says it all.
yeah, it's the best option to go forward, and it allows you to continue to build the rest of your roster because Tom is comfortable making less money and allowing his team to be the best it can be. And you look
I
at
think I think he's enjoying football.
right, right. I mean, he's made so much money, and obviously that's not his first thought. Obviously he's not going to do it for free, but when you look at an Aaron Rodgers who's making 50 million, and then you look at Patrick Mahomes who's getting his big contract, and now Devontae Adams gets traded because of Aaron Rodgers' said contract, and it's just not allowing these teams to build teams are capable of if your
Yeah.
quarterback's not making as much as you know.
Now,
Mm,
now, could that be said about Kansas City? I mean, when you look at that monster contract they gave, and see, I'm not a capologist and I'm not a contract guy, but what they paid Patrick Mahomes uh, with his extension, and they got him locked in. Does that affect who they can bring in free agency, or where is Kansas City sitting at as far as all that goes?
yeah, and to what I was saying, I mean, it shouldn't affect these teams from keeping their star players. Like
Yeah.
if they
So
want to if they want to keep you, they'll find a way to keep you. I think Devontae just got frustrated with how Green Bay was running things, and obviously wanted a change. And he deserves to get paid what he got paid, same as Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying don't get your money; you have to go do it, but at the same time, when it comes to winning, I just feel like Tom is just so unselfish, and that's what's allowed his teams to be so successful because he knows the importance of having a great team around himself because it helps him, be better and also helps the team be better.
yeah, I'm
Um,
with Emily right here.
mhm,
I'm glad that Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. I think Tom had to have taken his personal the
oh,
way everything went down because he was better in every statistical category that you could
mhm,
like compare the two,
yeah,
but they still gave it to Aaron Rodgers. And I think that Tom Brady is determined to make a statement. I think he's that kind of guy. I was watching this thing, and not to get off the subject, but
mhm,
it kind of is on a subject. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was a guy that I don't want to say petty, but there were times where somebody would say something to him and he had to go and prove them wrong in
mhm.
a monumental way. And I've seen that with Tom Brady. I don't know if we can look back on when he was suspended. He came back with a vengeance. I've never seen a quarterback do what he did on the level that he did after that suspension. And it was just like, wow, this guy they're not playing around.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sure Tom's gonna be, super motivated. I mean, he's gonna do what he has to do to be the best. And I think the whole team's gonna be motivated because they didn't want to lose like they did,
Yeah.
in that divisional game against the Rams. So yeah, I think that's why I like the offseason so far is because they brought their guys back and
Mhm.
continue to do so, but they're also bringing in new blood, which
Right.
I think they
They're
needed.
mixing it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, getting a guy like Logan Ryan and also Shaq Mason, who have played with Tom Brady before, I
Yeah.
think it just enhances the culture, that they're trying to create here in Tampa Bay. And it just makes it, for other players, it's going to be a little bit more driven, a little bit more focused when it needs to be. So I think that's going to be a huge dividend. But
It's so funny. We've discussed a lot of these same things prior to the Bucks getting to where they were. I mean, I can go back 2016. We talked about if Tampa got the right core of people, you can continue to build on that core of people and continue to be competitive as you move along. And that's pretty much what Jason Light has been able to do is get that offensive line short up, get the defensive line short up, and you sign Vita Vea to the contract that you did, and you're bringing in some of these other players. I love where Tampa's at, and we talked about what if Tampa does this, and here we are. We're experiencing it right now, and these are exciting times.
oh, absolutely. And I think, you go back when we were talking in 2016 and, before even like 2014 and on, it was a mess.
Yeah,
The roster was not good. And I think
comfort
what
was there.
yeah, I think what Jason has done and learned from is just finding great people and great people who love football.
Mhm.
And I think he's done a very good job of that, finding guys like Devin White, Vita Vea,
Yeah,
Carlton Davis, the list goes on and on. Just guys that love the game, Mike Evans, and now
yeah,
obviously finding leadership in Bruce Arians and this coaching staff, I think has been very important. So,
yeah.
the tone is set, and now adding a guy like Tom Brady, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. And it
You just took
just
it over. Yeah, you just took it over the edge there.
yeah,
And think about this. I mean, the team that Jason Light had assembled for Bruce Arians was enough to attract the greatest quarterback of all time to come to Tampa. I mean, it says a lot about just the organization in general.
yeah, right. You're spot on. And now all we need is Tom Brady to have an interview with Mike Florio, and that would be
Yeah.
that'd
Yeah,
be awesome. Just set him
because
straight.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on Tom Brady to be in San Francisco in that Niners. I'm still waiting for him to be in that Niners
I
uniform.
know.
Yeah,
I've heard it all, from Mike Florio to Skip Bayless saying he had issues with Bruce Arians and wanted to, go to another team. He wanted to go to Miami, I've heard, because he's got a house down there
yeah,
and all this nonsense. People are gonna have disagreements,
right.
and
Absolutely.
that's gonna be everywhere in any
Because you want to
organization.
win.
Yeah, they just wanna win. So, not that it's bad blood or anything like that, or like,
Yeah, this isn't an Antonio Brown situation. This is actually two responsible adults that are, having a disagreement about, okay, this is what we're going to do.
mm,
And they've worked through it. And Tom Brady is back here, which speaks volumes about this dust up that they allegedly had.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what this offense can do, especially with, all the most of the pieces are gonna be back and, another year in the offense, which I think is the 3rd year now. So,
Mhm.
chemistry should be better, and I think
Dude,
guys are
we've never had this. I mean,
no.
prior to where we are now, it's always been a coaching carousel, quarterback carousel, coaching and a quarterback carousel, or something's wrong with the defense, or something's wrong here. And they just didn't have enough quality pieces to be competitive. And it's just what it's been.
Mhm.
So, I'm so excited that my Victory Monday shirt, I can get a whole lot of use out of it this year. I'm hoping. And, I'm looking forward to this. But no, this
Yeah,
is gonna be an exciting year. I'm just sitting back and enjoying the off season. This is probably now with everything that's going on, with all the moves in free agency, with all the missing pieces, the
it's
emergence of the AFC West
yeah.
juggernauts over there. And
It's shaping up nicely for the Bucks. I mean, you
yeah,
look at, the NFC is just it continues to lose talent. You look at,
yeah,
the AFC is, building teams up. You got the Chargers and yeah, that the whole AFC West looks very competitive.
Yeah, the
And
Raiders.
then yeah, and you got, the AFC East making moves now with Tyreek Hill joining them, and the Dolphins, and, there's just a lot of movement there on the AFC. It's gonna be a strong conference, and then you look at the AFC, NFC South just doesn't look very, competitive, and that's good for the Bucs. It looks like the Bucs should be the heavy favorite. Obviously, the Saints getting back Jameis Winston, I think that's a good move for them.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
and you have a lot of changes there in that whole division. Quarterback wise, Matt Ryan has gone to the Colts. There's
And Tom Brady's the oldest tenured quarterback in the NFC South.
right,
That makes sense.
exactly. And Carolina's got, their question marks. They don't know really
Bro,
they don't
I've
know what direction they're going in. So
you
it's
know what? They probably now that I'm looking at Matt Rule now, I'm like, wow, they really they gambled and it didn't really pay off like it should have.
right.
And now you've got a mentally shaken Sam Darnold, who I see him. He's going to be a journeyman quarterback, throughout the rest of his career.
Mm.
He's pretty much shown that he's not that guy. I don't know. What do you do if you're Carolina? If you're Carolina, do you go into the draft and try to draft a quarterback, or what are their options right now? I know they're not interested in Baker Mayfield, allegedly.
Mm.
Alleg- this is the season of lies, they call this time in the NFL season. So this could
Right.
be one or the other. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm not sure where you go. I mean, obviously they're probably going to draft somebody, I'm sure, but I don't know how high I think they're sitting at the sixth pick overall, so I don't know if you take a quarterback that high, or and then free
Oh,
agency. There's not much out
mm,
there. There's not much
Hubbard's
trade.
fair, man.
Yeah, there's not many trade options available. Um, I just think it's funny that we're going to see Jameis Winston versus Marcus Mariota, twice a
Twice.
year.
If,
So
if Mariota can stay healthy,
right,
then
and
that's a big if right there. Uh,
exactly, especially behind that offensive line, which is shaky at best, and
yeah, that's a scary situation
you
right
really only have one guy to throw to.
there. Oh, hold on one second.
Yeah.
All right, you are live on Buck What You Heard. Who we talking with? Hold on one second. One second. Let me get you on speaker here. Sorry about that. My first call of the evening. How you doing?
Pretty good, Jay. Selfish Justice here.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How's everything going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I can't complain, man. I'm just here at work, but a little downtime. So I was tuning in, and I figured give a call here.
I appreciate that. So, what are your thoughts on this off season?
I mean, it was pretty bipolar, man. Initially, man, with the retirement and re-retirement and all the speculation, all the confusion, and then with the Bucs Twitter there, man, you're almost end up in a rubber room,
Exactly.
After difficulty comes ease, though, man. I think things are gonna fall into place. I think they'll probably draft another safety, maybe the later round, second or third round, possibly. I mean, he's been knocking it out of the park with safeties. I mean, Evans, obviously, when Evans was around, and obviously, so I think I love Whitehead, man, but I wouldn't even say the money. I don't even know the real reason. I mean, beyond all that, it's all speculation. But I love this play, man. He was a trendsetter on that defense, man. I mean, the tone setter, excuse me. I mean, he just
Yeah,
played with
I'll
a
be
star.
honestly, he'll be missed.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with JPP and Sue, but I'd definitely like to see Sue back, but not too sure about JPP, what he has left. But hopefully, Tryon could probably, start throwing off the 200-pound dumbbells in the off season and come out there ready to wreck shop.
Yeah, let's hope that happens. Hey, where are you located?
I'm in Linfield, Massachusetts.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
are you from Tampa?
No, I'm originally actually from Newark, New Jersey, but I moved to Massachusetts. I worked for General Electric Aviation, so pretty good career. So I didn't decide. I went to college in Florida. I went to Florida State.
Oh, okay, FSU. There we go.
Yeah, but my Buccaneers connection was my uncle played with Leroy, Lucius, and Dewey at Oklahoma. So I've always
that's pretty cool.
Since I was, since a child.
That is wild, right there,
my
man.
uncle played there.
What position did he play?
He played offensive line. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he played guard. Yeah. I think it was like maybe a 9th-round draft pick with the Minnesota Vikings. Made it through the preseason, and he had an accident and ended up dying, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But that connects you to the Bucs, man. It's good. It's crazy how we have fans everywhere. I mean, not just in Tampa, just everywhere. I mean, when I was little, I remember everybody was like a Niners fan or a Dallas fan, and they didn't want to admit that they were Buccaneer fans. And you kind of went through that through the 80s and into the 90s, and then the end of the 90s, the Bucs started getting better, and that's kind of been kind of up and down, and it's really good to see Tampa where they are right now. I'm going to ask you this before I let you go. What is your best memory as a Bucs fan?
I mean, it's true. Obviously, the Derek Brooks last interception in the Super Bowl and the Rondé Barber. But I mean, I traveled every year. I go to the games. I mean, I went to Seattle. I got like hit with donuts and hot dogs and soda at the vet, and I've been to pretty much every stadium in the NFL, man, watching the game. So, I mean, I've had good times here and there. But as far as on game, I mean, that brought me to tears watching Derek Brooks, cross that end zone and knowing that we won the Super Bowl, man.
That was incredible.
Yeah,
I think probably for me, there's two, and I can't put one over the other. The first one was the Rondé Barber, of course, the Rondé Barber interception on Donovan McNabb, because I hate Philadelphia. I don't hate Philadelphia as much as Dallas, but I don't like Philadelphia. So there was that. And then the Scott Brantley hit on I can't think of the quarterback. Scott Brantley hit it'll come to me in a minute. He played for Detroit. I can't think of his name. But anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. But that hit right there was just like, it looked like a train wreck, and it was incredible. I love Scott Brantley. He's one of the guys that you really didn't hear a lot about because he was playing for the Bucs when they were like they're but he was one of my favorites. But those kind of things, nobody can take that away from you. Are you going to any games this year?
I'm trying to figure out what's actually the home and away games. I try to go. I mean, I try to go away games. I try to go actually two. One home and one away. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to go to that Vegas game, man, but
hey, you can always go to the Cardinals. The Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals game is in Phoenix or Glendale.
Yeah, that should be nice.
Yeah,
that should be nice.
Yeah, they just, as a matter of fact, they just brought AJ Green back to the Cardinals. They just re-signed him, so there's that. They're really trying.
Like on that. It's kind of along the lines of the Julio Jones realm, man. Where these guys are like old horses out there that should be running, man.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just have to see what happens.
They look, man, and they look graceful, but they ain't got it in them no more, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's begging for Julio there, man. But what's he gonna do, man?
Yeah, he can't stay.
9 games out of 12, man.
Yep. The best ability is availability.
Yeah, we gotta go with youth, man. We got two of the best in the game, man.
Yeah.
And I do like Gage a lot too, man. I think he's gonna, I mean, how it is. I mean, there's always some soft tissue injuries, man. With Evans, he's bound to miss a game or two. So these guys will fill right in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I see a lot of promise. I mean, I went from being like at the end of the season here, and Brady said that he's walking away, man. I mean, I've been here in Massachusetts for 30 years. And I've been hearing it, man. Because I wear all my gear all the time, and you get people laughing in your face and stuff, man.
Yeah.
But It got back to that fairway. It's like I'm going to be start getting hit with, hot dogs and soda again. I have to stop following people. But yeah, he came out, man, and I wasn't really thinking anyway on the respects of Watson coming in, man. I didn't think that was going to be a probability either, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would ever happen, man. And then seeing the money that he got over there at Cleveland,
dude, and you just have to wonder. They're betting the farm right now. I think this may be the year they've got to do it. I mean, this year or maybe next year, but you got to eventually have to pay all those guys that these high dollar guys that you got. You eventually have to pay them. So I'm thinking this year or next year they got to do it.
Hey, you genuinely believe that he's as good as people make him out to be?
We were just talking about that a little bit earlier, and it remains to be seen. I remember him with, when he had DeAndre Hopkins, and they were kind of getting it done, but, I think they were missing some pieces on defense. It was at that time, I guess, about the time that J.J. Watt was not consistently healthy. So you were running into that, but like I said, he has no excuses now. When you look at his lineup, running back, wide receiver, defense, special teams, there's no excuses for him not to, win it all.
Yeah. It's the best situation he's been in.
Yeah, he's never been in a better situation.
Him and Winston. Remember the game, him and Winston, the game before the Atlanta game? 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Where both just throwing interceptions back and forth. It was like, you take the game. No, you take it. No, you take it. And then finally, game is just, he just folded, man. But
yeah,
I was just like, I don't know. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be, man. But we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be interesting.
Yep.
I think we definitely got it wrapped up over there, man.
Yeah.
Green Bay's not gonna do anything, and we'll just pop you out there. We have to overcome the Rams somehow, man. And,
yeah. And do the Rams bring? Are they close to bringing everybody back? I know they've lost some pieces. They lost a good wide receiver in Woods. I know you still have your. Huh?
Allen Robinson's a good addition.
Yeah, he is. So they've kind of
I kind of put him in that Julio collection there. All horses, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Less than a stable of nags, man.
Yeah. This is true.
That's just my observation. I could be wrong, man, but I know Julio definitely is in that nag category.
Yeah. Are you on Twitter?
Well, I don't want to hold you guys up. I just want to call. I hardly get a chance. I always see you after. I see you on YouTube after. So I usually don't get a chance to really get in and call you here or see you live. But
are we following each other on Twitter?
Take care of yourself, man.
All right.
William 28 No.
Okay. All right.
WM 28 No.
Okay. I will look for you.
No, you follow me already. You follow me.
Okay.
All right, Gene. Take care. And your co-host, I didn't catch his name, but
Michael. This is Michael Pless. If you get a chance, go ahead and follow Real Bucs Talk and check out some of their draft analysis and game breakdown. They're the best in the business. That's why I have him on the show.
Okay.
Curious show.
Sounds fair, man.
All right, my friend.
Great call.
Yeah, you have a great day. Thanks for calling in.
Take care of yourself.
All right.
You too. Thanks.
That's great, man. That is awesome. So we got that call in. He had some pretty good points there. I understand where, there are some pieces that people feel like we can improve on. Somebody had mentioned Joe Hayden. I had heard stories about Joe Hayden in the locker room, and that's why he's not with Pittsburgh. But I don't know how true that is. So again, it's just, one of those things, you hear those rumors, but again, I'm not sure how he is in the locker room, but and is he still the Joe Hayden from, hold on. Okay. You are live on Buck What You Heard. Who are we talking with? It's T. Smitty. What's happening, man?
What's going on, Smitty? Hey, man, how you guys doing today?
Doing good, man.
Good.
So what's going on?
How you talk to? Man, I gotta say this. You talked to that last call about how you became a Bucs fan. I never tell you how I became a Bucs fan being from Alabama. All right. You remember that game, Tecmo Super Bowl?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I made a bet with a guy I went to school with. I said, I'm gonna pick the most pathetic team and win the Super Bowl with them, and it was the Bucs.
That's awesome.
With the Super Bowl with that team, so I got to know the players, so I became hooked.
Yeah,
so you know how hard it was to win a Super Bowl with that team,
especially if Bo Jackson's on the other side. Bro, I used to make people cry with Bo Jackson, man. I would get right down by the end zone and just run along the end zone to the other sideline and just embarrass people with you because nobody could stop Bo Jackson on that game.
Yeah, that's true.
And Lawrence Taylor blocked every kick. Man, you gotta talk free agency and stuff. And like, look at the division, right? The NFC South.
Yeah, the bipolar.
Because I'm a big picture guy.
Yeah.
And I think the Falcons and the Panthers should not even draft a quarterback this year. Sit this draft out because I don't think any of these quarterbacks are first round picks.
No.
When it comes to Malik Willis, I'm gonna quote the great Fran Fraschilla. He's 2 years away from being 2 years away. But 2023 is a very deep draft for quarterback.
Right.
And I believe that you go in on that and you build your team up so your quarterback has something to go to. Everybody's going to rebuild at one point or another. But
I think you got to move on from Matt Rule, though. I think Carolina got it. Carolina got to do, they went in. You brought in Sam Darnold. That alone should get everybody fired.
Yeah, and how he did Cam Newton.
Yeah,
I think that's how they just traded him like yesterday's garbage. I'm like he was a popular guy. Not saying he was great, but you know what I'm getting at. And,
you can't. I understand he's a professional. He's a veteran, but you can't come in and learn a system off the fly after coming in sitting on the couch. Come in and learn the system. How does that work?
And then they picked up Sam Darnold's option real quick. I'm like, we see what you have first. They didn't even want to pick up the option. And like the Falcons, just rebuild. It's okay. They were bad with Matt Ryan. You might as well trade them and get some picks. In the Saints, they are paying for that salary, so kicking the can down the road to give and Taysom Hill money every year.
Yep.
They lost Hendrick, who was a premier pass rusher.
Right.
Hendrickson, I'm sorry. And Teron Armstead signed with the Dolphins. They probably gave him more money than the Saints were going to give him.
Right.
So you go feel that because it's hard to replace a left tackle. That's why I never was on the get rid of Donovan Smith train. Because who you going to get?
Yeah. And every time you ask that question, they're like, "Oh, I don't know, but there's got to be somebody better." And I'm like, "Well, who?"
Yeah.
I mean, there were times I wanted to launch him into the sun. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here. You can find my tweets and see what I've said. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when he's playing the way he can play at his strengths, I love having him.
Yeah, we get hate still for defending Donovan Smith on our channel. It's like, we get unfollowed because we support Donovan Smith. I mean, the guy's a good left tackle. You can't find much. It's hard position to fill because he's solid, he's consistent, he's out there every game. Yeah, he's going to get beat. So does every other left tackle. I mean, it happens. This is the NFL.
That's just what it is. So T, what do you think? What other improvements do you think the Bucs need to make right now?
I think always bolster up your secondary because they needed someone. I always believe it's like Carlton Davis. He's a good cornerback, and I never understood the hate for him because you don't hear his name that often. Yes, he can't catch. We got that, but you don't see the back of his jersey that often. And but I think they need help in that corner because you got to remember also Sean Murphy-Button coming due, Jamel Dean coming due. Are you going to pay these guys? Because other teams need corners, they may pay those guys. Mm-hmm. So you always keep those guys on rotation.
Right.
And also, I believe, I know being number one against the run is great and all, but we're in a passing league. Mm-hmm. If we're top half, like top 10, I'm cool with that. we need quickness on the inside. We need that on the inside because the Bucs stopped the run the past couple of years, but the secondary's been touched.
Right.
And I also think that they need some quickness on the pass rush.
Yeah.
Because Shaq Barrett's a good player, but he doesn't have that athleticism. Like, it's no knock on him. He's making the most out of what God gave him. He's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of get what I'm saying, where it's that guy where he could get off. I'm not saying Myles Garrett because those guys don't come around very often, you know. But you kind of get what I'm saying, some more quickness, somebody who could beat you that athleticism as well, not just effort and moves, who could beat you that way also. And maybe Joe Tryon turns into that guy, but but what fans got to understand is everybody in this league is talented.
Yeah.
Myself, Nathan Peterman. But
yeah. And I don't even know how he's still in the uniform.
Yeah. But you got to learn how to play.
Right.
That's why you get in with the right coaching where you learn how to play the game. And I think with him, he has to get more physical because Tom Brady, for example.
Yeah.
He loves it when the defensive end run past him because guess what he going to do? Just step up. He loves those defensive ends. And that's why I think getting someone in the middle who could be more of a pass rush threat could also help that outside pass rush also. I just think you can find that in the draft as well.
Yeah.
And I think they've got to get that because they got a lot of older guys on the defense too. You got to get some young guys there because one thing with older guys, and we know this because we're old, that back may stiffen up when you pick up that box.
Yeah, Father Time is undefeated.
Yep. And keep that coming. And one thing I'll say, Charlie, everybody talk about the Rams and all these teams that we're going to go all in. We're going to dump every draft pick we have. You know the Rams are this close to not even making it to the Super Bowl. The Bucs, even the 49ers, and Jimmy G didn't throw a blind pitch like he was playing for the Service Academy.
What was the safety's name that dropped the interception?
For the 49ers, Tart. I think it's Tart.
Yeah, Jaworski Tart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it wasn't like they were dominating people. They weren't like they were the 85 Bears over here was smashing people. And so I just want people to think about that. And I just think the Bucs, and I do think the Bucs, maybe after this year, get away from the, hey, we're going to bring everybody back like this is college football. Sometimes you do have to shake it up some.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't bring back SMB next year. That's why you draft people, see what they have, and you never know who comes open for trade. And that's just how I look at things.
And this is what makes you appreciate. And this is what makes you appreciate Jason Light. Jason Light went all in on cornerbacks like 2 drafts in a row.
Yep.
He got the guys that he wanted. I mean, he didn't hit on all of them, but at the same time, there were guys that went to other teams and played. But he got the guys he wanted, and he just continually tried until he thought that he had the right formula, and we saw that worked in 2020. So I mean, when you look at that secondary in 2020, I think the secondary was all draft picks, weren't they?
Yeah.
There were no free agents in that secondary.
Yeah, it was all draft picks.
Yeah. Yep. So again, it just kind of goes back to you got to put faith in Jason and what he's got planned. I'm looking forward to this draft now that Tom Brady's back. Yeah, I sound like a front runner.
One thing about the secondary, and I think people miss, sometimes you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're gonna get lucky. The Bucs should be thanking their lucky stars that Antoine Winfield's 5'9" instead of 6'1". He would have gone the first round.
Exactly.
Absolutely. He was a top 15 player in that draft.
Yeah. If you redo the draft, I could see him going as high as 13, to be honest. Just with what you know about him, and you go and redo the draft, I could see him going easily as high as number 13.
You never hear his name. That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you want.
And sometimes you miss. Sometimes you make the right pick. It doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And I applaud him for always attacking it. And one underrated thing this guy does, and I think this is what good thing about Bruce Arians coming in. What people don't get is Jason Light was learning on the fly.
Yeah.
He was a first-time GM. He didn't have, Lovey was gone after a year or so when, say, Jameis got there.
Yeah.
So You didn't really, and Lovey traded Darrell Revis for some reason, but I'm not going there. But
and Robinson was helping him along too. And we saw what he did with Tennessee. But go ahead.
Tennessee, yeah. And so you work the GM works with the coach,
right?
And Bruce Arians been around the block, so he knows what to do. He knows all the stuff. Dirk Cutter didn't, and we can just be honest about that. He couldn't build a consistent bowl team at Arizona State. All right, when he built statue for going 8-4, and the Falcons fans hated him anyway.
Yeah.
So there you go. But Bruce, if you notice, as soon as Bruce got there, been really about those trenches, the offensive, defensive line.
Yeah.
And Jason Light has an eye for offensive line talent.
Yes, he does.
Two small school guys. And what people got to understand also, I tweeted this a while back. Alice Kappa leaving is not a shot at Light or anybody.
No.
You can't pay everybody, but it also meant the GM made the right pick.
Right.
If another team's paying you like that, first day of free agency, you get the right thing. You made the right pick.
Yeah. All these draft picks that are going to other teams now, you couldn't pay them all, like you said. So that definitely works.
It's a good thing, Jordan Whitehead going to the Jets and Kappa moving on. All those are good signs that these are good football players. And like you said, you can't keep them all. And I'm right there with you that they're going to continue to draft in the secondary. I expect them to draft a corner, a safety this year, because you got guys that are coming up for contracts next year, and Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy Bunting, and Mike Edwards as well. So, you got to continue to add to that mix. And it's always good to be deep in the secondary because, injuries do play a part. And we saw that last year.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yep.
Well, guys, I can't believe we've been on here for a whole hour, even with StreamYard acting up. And thank you guys again. Everybody who's listening, Bud, Cannibalist, just T. Smitty, if you want to stay on with us till we roll out, Chris Cole, Emily Compa, and if I missed anybody, thank you so much for calling in and just giving us your thoughts on everything. But next week we will be doing a competition to give away some Smack Apparel t-shirts. I don't know if you guys get a chance to go out to smackapparel.com. There's a new t-shirt that they just released called Thank You Giselle. It's basically Tom Brady's wife, if you don't know who that is, basically thanking her for allowing him to come back. And on the back, it says unfinished business. Great shirt. We're going to be giving some of those away, and not just one, maybe two or three. We're going to have my guy Jeff back on from Smack Apparel, who'll be hanging out with us, and we will be doing the thing. So if you get a chance to call in, please call in. I promise you'll have fun. It's a safe zone. You don't have to be a Bucs fan to call in. You can just call in and you want to talk about football or your team or whatever. I'm open for that too, because this is a safe zone. But anyway, this is always fun. But thanks for the comment. Very fortunate, T. Smitty, to have you calling in, with your knowledge. And Mike, what can I say, man? You're the reason I follow the draft as close as I do and get excited about it, so I can follow you on draft day and get your analysis.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna keep churning it up as the weeks go on here. So more to come. That's for sure.
All right. And he'll definitely, I'm going to drag him back on again, before the draft. And, as we get closer and more moves are made in free agency, to see how it goes. T. Smitty, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, man.
Well, you can find me on Twitter, my screen name there, as you said. Most of the time you'll see me cussing out Alabama players, but not really the players, but Bill O'Brien. I see why Tom Brady cussed them out. That's all I got to say. Yes. And I just talk about sports and wrestling a lot of times and stuff. And, but I like to keep it fun. I like chatting up with people. And the one thing I've learned is that being on Twitter is that you get smarter takes on sports and teams than you do from the hot take media.
Yep.
Because and that's the one thing I've learned. And I love talking even from teams in the teams in NFC South or folks who do podcasts on other teams.
Yeah.
I just like learning about the team, and just talking ball and stuff. And I just think, and I made
because these fans are invested in their team. They love their team.
Yep.
All right.
And they're good stuff.
Yeah.
And my last thing before I run, Gene, I hope Mr. Pless there. Hope he's nice about Jameson Williams. I know he tore his ACL, but I would not mind the Bucs taking him if he falls. But,
that would be fun.
Yeah, most definitely.
You guys have a good one, man.
All right.
You too. Take care.
All right. All right. Well, that was great. That was T. Smitty. He's a longtime listener. Glad he's coming on. But Pless, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, and we'll go ahead and roll out of here.
Well, I mean, Jameson Williams would be that would be a fun pick. I'm not sure if the Bucs go that route, but that'd be pretty cool. Have that type of speed on the field.
Oh my goodness!
But
with the ACL injuries and technology, these guys are healing back, coming back good as new.
Yeah, I mean, he would probably be back at the same time Chris Godwin's back. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, again, Gene, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking just NFL, football, life, whatever we want to talk about. It's always good times. But yeah, you can find me and my co-host Mark Ramirez, Real Bucs Talk. Check out our YouTube channel. We got a lot of draft content. We got some Bucs content with Russell Gage film content, Russell Gage film breakdown that came out today. We're going to have a Logan Ryan coming out later this week. So, just learn more about those additions. We have the Shaq Mason up as well. So, a lot of good things, more draft content coming along as we're going to continue to put out more players and try to get as many as we can. And it will be a continued thing. It's going to go past draft. It's not just going to be up to the draft. We're going to talk about certain players again. Like we'll do more film content on them. And, obviously we'll cover the Bucs draft picks as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a 365 thing for us. It never,
what it is.
It never sleeps. And it just continues to, build discussion. And really that's what we're about. We're just, bringing Bucs fans together, NFL fans together, talking football, talking about players and, this crazy world that is the NFL, because obviously it's been a whirlwind this offseason with so much, really entertainment, and really it's the best show ever. Like everyone talks about Netflix, Hulu, and all this. The NFL is the best show out there right now.
Yep. And they really need to get cameras on all 32 teams and do something like that in the off season. That would be incredible.
I love it when they have the cameras in the draft room and they're just, talking that way. I love it.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, guys, you can reach me at Buck What You Heard. Remember, like and subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It helps me out. I appreciate that. My goal is to get over the number I have right now, but I always appreciate new listeners, and you guys are greatly appreciated. Call in next week. Call in. Get a chance to win a t-shirt. You can't beat that. You get a shirt mailed out to you from Smack Apparel. Your shirt, do your thing. So anyway, give us a call. Give us a call next week. We will look forward to you, and hope we have Michael Pless back on again. Who knows? But anyway, we're out. Everybody have a good week, and go Bucs.